Hey, this is Jen with Somebody Now, and I'm here to remind you that you are somebody now. Like right now. All right, let's go. Hey, this is Jen, and welcome to the Somebody Now podcast. And I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of give a little bit of background as to what I'm doing here, what my goal is, why you might be interested, why I think this is good for the world, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to do like an interview set for myself, probably be the best way. I had a couple of friends that I was like, hey, can you hop in and like do this so that, I have like somebody that I'm talking to for the first one. So it's more engaging, but I'm just pretending there's imaginary people here in my room. So what is the story behind Somebody Now? Like, what was the motivation behind it? So for the last probably 2 years, I have been like chewing on different podcasts to do. I was just like doom scrolling and I saw Gary Vee's video with Letitia where she's like, someday you're going to know who I am, basically. I'm going to be somebody someday. And he's like, stop, look at my face. You're somebody now. And she's like, you just see that register into her head of like, it didn't even occur to her that while she was like doing the things that she's doing on a daily basis and like just striving and self-growth and kind of mapping out what she wants her journey to look like, that she is actively somebody at the time. Every chance that I interact with people, I look at an opportunity to actually like get to know them. And I ask like, hey, how are you doing? I think that there's a moment where they realize that I actually mean, how are you doing? Like, I genuinely want to know if your day is shitty or not. And then just like talking about it or just like, yeah, my background includes, I was in the Marines for 10 years in public affairs, and then worked in commercial entities, and I like dealing with nonprofits and organizations that like work toward the greater good, and any type of like emerging technologies or like gaming type things or anything like that. Just I like working with people that bring good into the world. But in all of my little micro interactions, I end up hearing these amazing stories from people. Like I was in Tampa for a conference and I love this was Vietnamese food, and I just wanted some bomb food because I live in the Midwest now, and it can be a little depressing. I'm from Hawaii originally, and just like the availability or the accessibility of like diverse foods is not as high, or I just have to drive to get it like a good distance. And I meet this guy like 3 minutes before the place is supposed to close, and I was just expecting to run in. I left my car running. It wasn't in a great, part of town or whatever, but I went in there and I just started talking to him and ended up, hearing this amazing story about how his family had moved, and they had rescued like 47 refugees, or his father had rescued 47 refugees on a boat, and just that he had done manufacturing in Asia for a long time and then ended up having to move when there was just the manufacturing shift and the way that they did business and things like that. And now he's doing this, Vietnamese place in Tampa. And it was just like those types of things happen all the time. Like I am fortunate enough to hear people's stories all the time. And I'm an avid researcher. I love to learn things. I love to like go down rabbit holes. I'm into having an understanding of all different schools of thought and where people come from and what kind of mechanisms drive them. And yeah, so that was the thing. And once I saw the Somebody Now video, I was just like, oh, that's it. And so my background includes I build brands for people. So it's just like instantly I'm looking to see if it's available. I'm looking to see if I can get all of the handles and stuff. And it was available. And so I was like, all right, this is it. And I feel in my gut that this is my thing. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm really excited and I'm happy that you're here. And I just am looking forward to meeting all different types of people from walks of life and, hearing about their their things and just kind of celebrating with them. What do I hope listeners will take away from this podcast? I really hope that listeners will, I don't know, get a fucking good feel. Like, if you're listening to this in the morning, like, just a good vibe, because things are just, it's a lot. Everything is a lot. It's just like constantly throughout the day, there's all of these like little things that make us feel like we're failing or we're not achieving or whatever else. And I feel like it would be pretty baller to be able to, you know, have a moment and just have content available that will consistently provide something that's engaging, something that's interesting, something that is genuine, authentic, has heart in it, just to reconnect with humanity a little bit, like the softer sides of humanity. Like, it's inevitable that you're going to run into negatives. Like, there's no way that I'm going to be talking to people about, their rock collection and their favorite rock. I'm like, "Hey, what's your favorite rock?" And they have this one and there's a story tied to it. There's just this duality that exists in life. But I want there to be a little bit more availability of some of the softer things. Like, I'm really inspired by there's this guy, it's like Kind Panda or something like that. Or I don't know if it's a guy, there's a person. And they just go and find like Twitch streamers that don't really have people on or don't really have a following. And they just talk to them and like vibe and, send them some cash and stuff like that. And it's just a really feel good. Or I'll have stuff run across my socials that's like, just feel good stuff. We're inundated right now with so much information, and much of it is not vetted information, and a lot of it is transactional. So I want to be able to make a place where people can walk away not feeling like they had a transactional experience, because we need that. And the world is changing and evolving at such a rapid pace that it's just something that's really necessary for our hearts and for our souls to be able to feel like we're still connected to something while we're, living these like isolated little pod lives that we are kind of growing into. How did my background in strategic communications shape my approach to podcasting? Well, I spent the last like 20 something years helping people feel comfortable in front of a camera, like understanding that, what's a good way to put this? When somebody is like, "Hey, I'm applying for jobs. Can you look over my resume?" I'll like look over their stuff and I'll, research the organization that they're going to. And I'll find the pieces within themselves and like within their experience that already applies to what they're going for. Even in that like simple example, a lot of people tend to not think highly of what they're doing. They're like, "Oh, I just did this," or "I just did this." And it's like, "Nah, dude, you fucking did that." Like, this is what it looks like when it's, shaped or put into to be viewed through a different lens, or viewed through the lens that I view it through. And it's something that you should be proud of. And there's always this like weird feeling that people have, whether it's doing video for the first time or sharing something that they've accomplished or whatever else, where we feel like we're not supposed to like pat ourselves on the back. Like, it's not okay for us to feel good about what we're doing. And I am 100% one of those people also. Like, the steps that I've had to take in personal growth to reach a point where I am like, all right, we're just going to do it. Like, I'm weird. I'm awkward. I don't make awesome eye contact when I'm talking. Like, I have sometimes I'm like a pressured speech type of person. I overshare sometimes. Like, I mean, basically all of these things that make me like, "Oh man, you probably should just, hide in a corner or inside your dryer for your entire life and just do the world a favor." Like, those things exist in me too, but I had to overcome and learn about all of the tools available to help people have the confidence to go and like speak about it and figure out like what type of cadence they work with best for being able to recognize things in themselves and also how they're able to absorb and share information. Just the volume of people that I interact with or have interact with doing, interviews and writing articles and things like that. Because journalism was a part of it, and photojournalism was a part of it, and working with creatives and working with people that are, coming back from war or veterans or are creating something or invented something, or they're amazing builders, or they have like a really good design knack or something else like that. It's just, yeah, those are some of the things that helped shape me as a person to be confident that I'm going to be able to do this successfully. For you, I mentioned that do well by doing good is a mantra that I live by. How did that philosophy develop? Damn. Okay, so I partnered with my amazing ChatGPT to help me with these questions because it's kind of hard when you're doing it for yourself. I could write my own interview questions, but that feels like super weird. But my ChatGPT has a good memory bank about stuff about me. So yeah, how did that mantra develop? Man, okay, we're just gonna jump into it. I'll be straight up. Working in I appreciate my time in the Marine Corps 100%. Um, there's a duality to that too. There's some heaviness there, and there's some things that you experience in that I then experienced in the commercial side of the house, where my view of transactional relationships, my view of empty fake value, that's the word, of fake value, of people working to leverage psychology and manipulate the masses into purchasing a product or like buying a service or believing in something or whatever else. Is just like it's hard to work in that industry for so long and not have an honest realization about some of the things. Some of those things are not feel good things, and some of them are not good, and they are not for good. And so a few years ago, I told myself that I would only do things that were authentic to who I was, because I've been in survival mode since I was a kid. I've been working since I was 9. I'm on my first day, this day 10, where I am not actively in a job right now. Like, I have work that I can do, but I'm not, because I'm taking a break so that I could get my head in a good creative space so that I could do this, because I feel like this is something I'm supposed to do. That being said, my insides have been screaming at me. And I mean, I got to day 10 and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to do this. And the first like 8 days were not even rest days. Like, I was just super busy. But I just want, you have a choice always. And I want to participate in things that put good into the world. Um, I don't feel like it's necessary to not be successful while doing good. In fact, I'm completely aware that putting good into the world requires capital. One of the nonprofits that I work with, it's called the Fulfillment Source Code, and it helps tweens and moving into adults to develop fulfillment skills. That is really important to me because I have independently had to work through a lot. I'm grateful my brain was I had an high enough intellect and interest in learning all the things that I did, but I did it on my own. And so I work with that organization because I want people to not suffer as much as I did going through that process and learning. And if you could give that to kids, they need it. I just want to be a part of the catalyst for positive change and reminder that you can do good and that you can do well by doing good. Will I do well? I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna do well. Like I feel it in my gut. Like, and I'm kind of like a honey badger, so I'll make it work. What has been the biggest challenge in getting somebody now off of the ground? Me. Me. I am the problem. That's No, so I have like a bunch of health issues and I've got some mental health issues and I have this really big problem with associating my value into being productive. And so about October of 2022, I started playing World of Warcraft. And I used to game when I was younger. Final Fantasy 7, like Mario, like Twisted Metal, like all the things. But I stopped and I just funneled all of my energy into work. And I convinced myself that like if I was doing work for free for people that didn't have resources, or if I was doing things to like for the greater good or whatever else, that it was fun. If I'm doing design work for somebody, that's like kitschy and cute, then it's fun. That's a lie. I was lying. I've been lying to myself. So last year I went functionally blind for like 7 months. I have a blepharospasm. Um, and then it's like a neurological thing that forces your eyes to close. So my eyes work, but my eyes would not open consistently. And then I had like a couple of, might be cancer things or whatever else, and some autoimmune stuff. And it was just all at once. So I had to like face my mortality. I had to face my potential for having like a pretty severe disability in a place where I don't have the resources to hire a permanent driver to help me get my kids to school or, anything else like that. So I had to confront my mortality. I had to confront my my willingness to accept help from people, which I've not been good at. That's constant work. I am not good with letting somebody pay the bill still. But that will come. I have one person without a doubt that she's allowed to pay the bill. And but she's like, there's no other foot that's going to fall there, so it's okay. And I know she loves me unconditionally. And then I got myself into another environment where I was just working excessively for somebody with, not being paid appropriately and putting in a lot of free hours and things like that. And I'm just on these cycles of burning myself out, and my eyes get bad whenever I do that. And my immune system starts to not be well. And then I run myself into the ground and I have to like all stop. And I'm just so sick that I can't do anything. And so I have really had to focus on like, I'm meditating like 4 times a day, even like micro meditations. I'm like, making sure like I don't drink coffee anymore, like there's no alcohol or anything, like it's just water and like flavored water that's like raspberry puree and lime. Like that's just, I needed to refocus and get myself into a position to whereas I was going to be able to apply myself, because that's the thing is I understand how much work content creators, there's a lot of tools out there now. I mean, it is insanely awesome compared to what it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So it's just grown so much. But even with that, it's very time consuming. And I know that it takes attention. And I also know that I have to kind of give up some things about being willing to have it be exactly perfect. If I do it to the standard that I know it needs to be done at 100% of the time, I'm not going to have the energy to do it. So it's some of that give and take. So yeah, me, like I'm the reason, I'm the biggest challenge into getting this off the ground, because I needed to get my head straight. I needed to get my system in line and prepared to be ready for whatever may come of this. And so now we're here. What excites me most about the podcasting process? Okay, so the people. That's it. That's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited about the stories. I get lonely a lot. I'm a very independent person. My husband is a very independent person. Um, we have older children that are like shifting toward, moving out of the house and things like that. And so it's just the community aspect of things is really important to me. That's why I love gaming also. But sometimes your guild, things happen with your guild, and it's heartbreaking. But yeah, the people. When I was in Baumholder, Germany for a NATO exercise in 2008, I remember this moment where I had just gotten this German coffee, and their breakfast was all like meats and like cheeses and stuff like that, which is my jam. Like I'm charcuterie all day. But I had gotten this super strong coffee, and like I'm walking out, and I had made a friend from Norway, and I was going up to like have tea in the British tent, and I went to see a friend at the Swiss tent, and stuff like that. And I was meeting people from 74 different countries, and I just remember this moment. I core memory. Bloop. I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And it wasn't that I wanted to go to NATO exercises for the rest of my life. It was that I wanted to meet the world. I'm so invested in understanding people and just admiring their culture and admiring the differences and the similarities, and just celebrating the things and the novelty of it. So when I'm not recording episodes, what quirky hobby or passion keeps me busy? Well, I went on a journey in 2019 because I didn't have hobbies, and I went through I need hobbies. So it was just like buying all the different things, and all hobbies cost money. Just trying a bunch. I am an artist, and I love doing sculpture, and I love doing 3D art. I'm starting to learn how to do like visuals I would love to do visuals for like electronic music festivals, or like if you ever go to an art museum and they just have those. But I like doing them in my hallway. Like my goal is to build I have a long hallway. I'm going to build like an infinity mirror room, so that I can just have cool stuff randomly sometimes. But stuff with lighting, projections. I'm learning how to make music now, because the art style that I'm going into is time-based media, and I feel inauthentic if I don't also create the music. So I'm like on this journey to I'm learning Logic Pro and how to use tremolo, and I'm a writer by nature. So like the poetic side of things, or the writing side of things, I don't really struggle with too much, but getting the timing down for it or whatever else. And then I game. I love to game. I was limiting myself to 3 games, and right now I kind of dabble between like 6. And yeah. So World of Warcraft, Elden Ring is amazing. Fortnite, I just started playing. It's super fun. And then GTA and Final Fantasy 7 Remastered is what I'm kind of into right now. But in addition to that, I love hiking and photography and video and helping people. If I could interview anyone dead or alive for somebody now, who would it be? Bill Hicks, unquestionably. Yeah, it'd be Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks is a comedian, or was a comedian. He died of pancreatic cancer, I think, when he was like 36. If you've never heard of Bill Hicks, he's got a very unique style, but he has a very, there is a truth to the things that he said. And even if they aren't realities for everybody, he was speaking organically from who he is. And he's freaking hilarious. And he's so honest. There's a thing, what he says about marketers. And I'm in marketing, but I'm not saying to do what he says to do, but I am saying that it's just like if you zoom out from it, and but the same thing about life is a ride. It goes up, it goes down, all of those things, but it's just a ride. Relax. It's going to be okay. And yeah, I would love to interview Bill Hicks. Where do I see somebody now going in the next year? Well, I am a manifesting person. So it's going to hit the moon. Like, that's what's going to happen, or some facet of it. The moon could be that it reaches one person that really needed to hear it, or hear a thing, or needed somebody to talk to, or something like that. Like, as far as like success, I think that that is measured differently for every person. And for me, my success would be in that individuals, find a place to build a community of like-minded people that they can engage with and grow with and feel good with and laugh at and cry with and do all the things. So it'd be really cool if I made a lot of money too. I mean, but that comes out in the cards, and there's all the different variables that come from that. But if nothing else, I'm really proud of myself for doing the thing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So how is this going to work? I feel in my gut that I'm supposed to organically post with 0 followers and start finding people that want to do this. They want to do a podcast, so the basis is I'm looking for people that it doesn't matter. Like the rock collection reference, like all walks of life. I just want to hear about your thing and get to know you and talk and make cool stuff. And that's it. So I guess this first one is an invitation. If you know somebody that, you've gotten to hear me for 30 minutes, if you know somebody that's, feels like, oh, that would be cool. Know that I'm starting with nothing. There's nobody here. I'm talking to no visible people, no listeners or anything. I can't guarantee that anybody or anything is going to be seen, because I'm just going to do this even if nobody ever looks at it, because I feel like it's something good to do. So yeah, but I would like to say, hey, this is Jen with Somebody Now, and I'm happy you're here. And make sure you're hydrating.